car. Channel 2's Reggie Harris is live at Stuyvesant Town with more on the suspect who is now in custody. Reggie?
Yes, John, the suspect, Venerado August, lived here at Stuyvesant Town Apartments with his wife and 2 teenage children. He is in custody in critical condition in a hospital room at St. Vincent's after stabbing himself. It all started with a family argument. We don't know what they were fighting about. We do know that Venerado August left a trail of 21 victims, most of them hit by a car he drove after stabbing his wife, his young cousin, and stabbing his mother-in-law fatally.
By the time we came outside, all we saw was a woman lying there. Apparently, she was probably close to death, and the child standing over, and he was bleeding profusely.
The woman, 69-year-old Milagros Ting, was dead, stabbed by her son-in-law, 52-year-old Venerando August, a native of the Philippines who had no known history of psychiatric problems. Police say August also stabbed his wife, Margaret, and their 2-year-old cousin at the Stuyvesant Town apartment complex before leading police on a wild 45-minute high-speed chase down 2nd Avenue, mowing down pedestrians along the way. It ended with August crashing a stolen car through a line of homeless people waiting outside a soup kitchen and finally colliding with a light pole in the East Village. Witnesses say August then stabbed himself several times.
When the police jumped out the car, they guns, telling him to drop the knife and all that, and the guy in turn, instead of dropping the knife, he started cutting on his own self.
Security guards weren't allowing reporters into the August's Stuyvesant Town apartment building today. Neighbors say Venerando and Margaret August lived on the 9th floor here for about 20 years. Her mother, the dead woman, lived on the 7th floor.
Very nice, respectable family. 2 children. She, I think, went into nursing.
In fact, both Margaret August and her mother were intensive care nurses at the Veterans Hospital just 3 blocks away on 23rd Street. The mother retired last year after more than 20 years here. The daughter has 23 years with the VA.
Per the family's request, they've asked us not to release any other information.
Now, police have been having some trouble with these names today. We initially reported, and just now, Venerando August. That's been updated just minutes ago to Venerado August. He is now charged with second-degree murder, attempted murder, assault, and reckless endangerment. Also, just minutes ago, police gave us a new identification for the woman who was stabbed to death. We know her as Milagros Ting. That's what's on the mailbox here, what her former employer at the VA hospital knows her as. Police now say she is also known as Mercedes Iapas, but is known by a second name. That's it from the east side. I'm Reggie Harris. John, Michelle?
All right, thank you, Reg. Right now, Dr. Frank Field is standing by with word about a thunderstorm watch that is affecting our area until 8 o'clock tonight. Frank?
Well, it's a severe thunderstorm watch, and if you live in any of these areas that we've outlined on the map, you can expect that the opportunities are there. Right now, there's a pretty bad thunderstorm that is rolling down near Stewart Air Force Base, near Newburgh. It's moving southeast at about 15 miles an hour with gusts of wind up to 58 miles an hour. And on the radar, you can see the bright spots. Those are the big ones that are popping up in the air mass. The only part of the area that's out of this watch is southern and central New Jersey. I'll have details when I join you back in the studio.
Can't wait, Frank. Still ahead, Christopher Reeve takes giant strides in his progress at a New Jersey rehab center. Will Superman ever be able to walk again?
Also, we'll have the amazing story of how a young South Korean woman survives 12 days after a building collapses on top of her.
And he spent months in a coma. Now a Russian child heads back to his homeland thanks to some American TLC. Take the best treatment money can buy in a patient with a positive attitude. The results add up to progress for actor Christopher Reeve. Dr. Max Gomez was in West Orange, New Jersey with Reeve's doctors. He joins us now with a progress report. How's he doing?
Well, John, not too bad, all things considered. He's now been at the Kessler Institute for 2 weeks, and he's said to be in good spirits again, all things considered. He has a lot of support. His wife, Dana, and son, Will, are with him. And he's gotten tons of good wishes from fans. But these days, progress is a shrug of the shoulders, something that takes superhuman strength when you've got a spinal cord injury.
Physical goals for Christopher Reeve have changed dramatically from his days as an athletic equestrian. Today, a major accomplishment is getting a couple of muscles to contract. He can now shrug his shoulders. That's important because it means he will someday be able to control an electric wheelchair. Even more importantly, it means that Reeve is getting nerve fibers to the area controlling one very crucial muscle, his diaphragm,
which is the main breathing muscle, has shown some signs of having input from the brain and working. And that says to us that muscle is going to continue to get strong. And this is an indication that those muscles are recovering. I can't guarantee 100% what will happen one way or another, but it is my goal to have him to be weaned from the ventilator, as is his goal.
A key element in rehabilitation from a spinal cord injury is the patient's psychological state, something his psychologist says is in Reeve's favor.
I find him to be an extremely positive, optimistic, hardworking, and goal-oriented individual. No doubt these qualities will serve him well in the time to come.
Now, Dr. Sipsky also told me today that they are using electrical stimulation to keep Christopher Reeve's muscles from wasting away. The idea there is to keep the muscles responsive for if and when his spinal cord recovers enough to send nerve impulses to them. And by the way, he is able to communicate and talk some in between the breaths of the ventilator or the respirator, so he's able to do some talking and communicate now with his doctors.
He's making a lot of progress, but what are his chances of ever walking again?
Well, the doctors obviously are not going to really say. Most spinal cord injury experts will say that the odds are pretty long, but they do say also that they will continue to recover and he'll continue to make progress for as long as 2 years after his initial injury, and it's only been 6 weeks, and he's made some progress with his shoulders and with his breathing, so there is some hope that he'll continue to make some progress.
Quickly, any signs of depression?
Well, that's hard to say. What they say sort of between the lines is he's doing what a normal spinal cord injury patient would do, and they do go through some of those bouts from time to time. It's normal.
That's right.
You bet.
Okay, Max, thanks. Heart trouble has landed Russian President Boris Yeltsin in the hospital. The 64-year-old Yeltsin is reportedly suffering from a condition where hardened arteries choke off the supply of oxygen to the heart. A spokesperson says Yeltsin